It's Friday, so it's time to party, and the best way to party is getting into a new Flock Fantasy tournament on Underdog. I'm so thankful that they are allowing us to host these tournaments on there for the community. I am thankful for y'all getting in these drafts with us. We are going to be doing 3 of these every week. And by 3 of these, I mean 3 different tournaments, 3 drafts each. So about 9 Flock drafts a week until the season starts. If you want to see how this works, well, first let's enter in a draft and then I'll explain everything for you. And good thing I have my phone here because looks like I'll need to enter in my phone. So a big difference between the Flock Fantasy tournament on Underdog Fantasy as opposed to what you're going to have with different Underdog tournaments is here in weeks 15 and 16. You are actually only going to be playing against one other person like a regular fantasy football league. Now, no, you're not going to be submitting your starting lineup. Will still be best ball rules, but you will be going head to head once you get to those 2 playoff weeks, and you're just going to be going up against one other person. So super exciting. We are in this draft. I'll show you the structure beyond this as well, but let's move this over here. So we are in the 4 slot. And with this, like we already discussing, what's going to be very interesting is you're going to draft against 11 other people. It's a $10 buy-in. And if you are the highest scoring team in your draft in weeks 1 through 14, you will make it to the fantasy football playoff tournament. And there in the fantasy football playoff tournament in week 15, you'll go up against one other person. If you beat them, you'll go to week 16. You'll go up against one other person. And if you beat them, you'll go to week 17 where there's 100 people in the final. And it's a $10,000 first place prize, $5,000 a second, $4,000 a third, $3,500 a fourth, all the way down the line off a $5 buy-in. So super excited about this. And again, we are going to be doing these a ton going up to the start of the season. So we get pick 4. With pick 4, I'm probably no longer taking Jefferson with the hamstring. I will take Barkley or Lamb. Lamb goes, so I will take Saquon Barkley. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's a good day overall as well. But thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us in this live stream. And Dunny says, turns out the Terry holdout is a bit more serious than anyone thought. Yes, sir. Not only do we have the Terry stuff going on, but now you got the Micah Parsons stuff going on. So really, it is just the Eagles division, and they are going to absolutely lock it up. But let's move this over. We have Jefferson going at 5, so the team at 5, not worried about the hamstring. Gibbs off the board at pick 6. McCaffrey goes 7. Nico Collins goes at 8. Sauce Ryle says, what happens if you win your own tournament? I win $10,000. That's what happens, my friend. First place is $10K. Now, how did I do in these tournaments last year? Y'all smoked me. I did not make a single finals, and I must have drafted like 20 teams. But we are actually going to have more Flock tournaments this year than we did last year. Last year, we did 2 a week. This year, we're doing 3 a week. We're going to do them on Friday, Sunday, and then like Tuesday, I think, or Wednesday. Something like that. I know one of them is going to be every Friday, and then 2 other random days during the week. Okay. Vinny, I'm sorry for juking y'all out. I'll let you know next time we're doing this. And of course, we're going to be doing 2 more Flock drafts after this. We're going to be getting in as many of these Flock tournaments as we can on Underdog. Chase Brown moving all the way up to 16 from Lee Watley here, who decided to take Puka Nacua at 9. A-Rod says, just finished the Flock League video. Yes, that's why this live stream's really late, because I was watching the Flock League video myself. Maybe selfishly because I'm involved in it. I will admit it is by far and away my favorite fantasy. It's my favorite YouTube channel, period. And I don't edit the videos. We have an editor who does it. And the editor this year is absolute kick-ass. I'm investing so much into it, but I don't get to see the Flock League videos before they come out. So whenever they premiere on YouTube, I'm sitting there watching them just like y'all are. Tyreek Hill goes at pick 20. So we're going to get Brock Bowers to pair up with Barkley. I think we did this in a $500 draft yesterday, or we did this in a Best Ball Mania draft yesterday. But regardless, I'm super excited about it. And just in case you didn't get a chance to see the Flock League video, I will pull this up for you real quick. This is the channel, and we went through and we reviewed all the submissions that we've had. We had about 200 fans submit clips to audition to be in the league, and everybody in the league except Sal. Sal was on a flight, so he wasn't able to make it. We got together, we reviewed the top 10 clips, we graded them, and then we voted on the we just graded them, and then whoever that had the highest grade got the league, which ton of fun, and I absolutely love the video. But let's move this. A-Rod says should have voted the boomer in. He absolutely killed it. He did absolutely kill it. That was definitely the funniest clip. But Marvin Harrison goes 26. Higgins goes 25. Once we go Barkley Bowers, we're locked into a wide receiver here, almost no matter what. Okay. Isaiah says, should I be going through the sleeper cheat sheets now, or will they be changing from now until the end of the month? So let me show you this real quick. Jackson Smith and Jigba goes, I understand that, yes, maybe Josh Jacobs is a 10 times better pick than Garrett Wilson. But when we start Barkley Bowers, I don't want to put myself in a corner like that. So we're going to go ahead. We will take Garrett Wilson. So, yeah, let me explain the cheat sheets because I want to. Oh, yeah. And by the way, if you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK in the year 2025, check your email address. Check your email that you signed up. The email address you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with, check it. It's probably in the spam, but you should see an email from Mason Dodd at flockfantasy.com, and it is access to all the draft sheets for this year. They will be updated every single week. And no, if your draft's not till later this month, you don't need to be studying those sheets right now. Those sheets aren't for research purposes. It's legitimately for print this out, take it to your draft, use this as a big board. Obviously, make your own opinions, make some of your own picks as well, but it's a really strong big board for you to have a good team with. So to be honest with you, the sheet that you got today, if your draft is in 4 weeks, it's going to be updated by that point when we get this news, such as like Terry McLaurin, blah, blah, blah. Quinshon Judkins, Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison. A lot's going to change from now to 4 weeks. So if your draft's not for 4 weeks, don't take the one that I just sent you. Take the one that I'll send you in 4 weeks. But I just have to send them every weekend now because I don't know when people's drafts are. I had a comment on the YouTube video yesterday, someone saying that their drafts this weekend. So we're starting to send those draft sheets out to people who use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy every Friday going forward. Jalen Hurts off the board at 42. And obviously, if you're not already on Underdog Fantasy, it's not too late. We are drafting here every single night. I'm going to live stream every single day until the probably about January 1st or maybe until about Christmas. But every day before the season starts, I'll be drafting teams on Underdog. And if you wanted to draft with us, you can always find the link in the description comment section where it says draft with us here. And if you use promo code FLOCK, you will get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, at the same time, you are going to be able to get all of our 2025 fantasy football draft guide cheat sheets, which again, you don't need to study them. What you do is you actually take them to your draft. And if you wanted to take advantage of that deal, you do need to be in one of these states. These are the states that Underdog operates in. You can see the map here. But let's move this over. Isaiah says, best money spent in a while. Winner of my league gets 1,000 this year. That would be massive. But Pickens goes after we take DK Metcalf. DJ Moore has been a big time faller as of late. Rita, sorry, Mace, watching Happy Gilmore 2 with the wife. I know I've said this 1,000 times, but the lady worked on Happy Gilmore 2 over the past year. That's why we had to go stay in LA for a couple months. So we are having a big Happy Gilmore 2 party at the house. Not this weekend, but next weekend because she's on a trip. So just know, as you watch it, that the Dodd household contributed a decent amount. Not joking. We're going to take Devonta Smith here. Devonta Smith, I'd rather have over DK Metcalf. Like Devonta Smith, if you look at my rankings, I'll have him ahead of Rice, Ridley, Sutton, DJ Moore, George Pickens, DK Metcalf. Now, you may ask Mason, why wouldn't you take him at 45 in that instance? Because I thought we had a shot to get him on the way back around in the 5th round. So we'll take him here. But Ethan says, do you have to be 21 for Underdog? Currently 20 and turn 21 in December. I think you have to be 18 for Underdog in the majority of states. Off the top of my head, I think there may be a state or two that you have to be 21. I think, and I could be completely making this up, but I think Arizona, you have to be 21. But the majority of them, I think you have to be 18. Okay. Chris Olave goes 59. Oh, crap. Stop it, desk. Henderson goes 58. I actually like our past 3 rounds with Wilson, Metcalf, Devonta Smith to play catch up at wide receiver after not going with the receiver in the first 2. And if you can't take advantage of that deal on Underdog for whatever reason, or if you are wanting a draft guide that you can actually study rather than just a draft sheet that you can take to the draft, or hell, if you want to go, you know what, I would like a draft guide that I can study and then also a draft guide that draft sheet that I can take to the actual draft. On flockfantasy.com, every creator's posted a draft guide for you. So I have my draft sheets. Land got out their PDF, which you can study up. Domain got out some draft sheets. And then also we had FSC put out the redraft manifesto. So if you are a member of the sites, you should be able to have access to things that if you wanted to read and study it before the season starts, I'll be there for you. Just go to the recent post section. Now, RJ Harvey off the board at 65. Jordan Addison goes 68. Dolphin says, hey, Mason, in an IDP league, where would you take Travis Hunter? Yahoo says it will grant offensive points in the IDP position. I don't have an exact answer for you because I've never played in an IDP league, especially not one where we've had a current active player playing both offense and defense. I think you'd have to look at your exact league settings, but my guess would be pretty damn high. So Jacoby Myers goes off the board at pick 67. Joe Burrow goes. We're going to continue to play catch up at wide receiver. I'm going to take Jerry Jeudy as our wide receiver 4. Okay. Oh, how the hell does Ben know this? Ben says Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia are 21 plus. Nebraska is 19 plus. Rest are 18 for Underdog. Pretty impressive that I knew that thing about Arizona. No idea how the hell you know all of those, my friend. Okay. DeAndre Swift off the board at pick 70. So one thing that you really have to take into account when you're drafting in the flock tournaments, this is my opinion. I did not win a single flock tournament last year, so I don't know if you want to listen to me or not. But since only one team in your 12-team draft is going to make it to the playoffs, some of these guys that may not produce early on, aka injured players like Godwin, Ayuk, aka suspended players like Rashee Rice, I think that they should probably be a little bit cheaper in this tournament than they would be in another tournament where 2 or 3 teams make it to the playoffs. But you have to score the most points in the regular season in your draft year to make it to weeks 15, 16, 17. Okay. Jaden Reed, 74. And I think we have a lot of flexibility after we take Jeudy as our 4th receiver. We have a lot of week 9 buys. Khalil Shakir off the board. We are going to go ahead and I think we should have some interesting wide receivers on the way back. We will take Isaiah Pacheco, starting running back at this point for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I've definitely drafted more Kareem Hunt in round 18 than I drafted Isaiah Pacheco here in round 7. So kind of hope that Pacheco doesn't crush this year. Kind of hope that we get some cheap Kareem Hunt points in. But it is what it is. Lee says he just did his first flock draft. It was tough. Well, we'll see how this one is. I like mine so far. But let's move this over. Corey says best alternative for Underdog, someone who lives in Canada. 1, Underdog is available in Canada outside of Ontario, but I think the majority of y'all live in Ontario. And 2, with that, if you were just wanting to get the draft sheets, we did drop the $34 season pass for flockfantasy.com, where you get access to the site and everything with it: trade calculator, trade finder, player comparison, range of outcomes tool, rest of season rankings, weekly rankings, all the way until January 1st. Plus, you get all 4 draft guides. Plus, if you use promo code FLOCK, I'll answer your start set questions and trade questions this year. And that's flockfantasy.com, and use code FLOCK. But if you're talking drafts wise, to be honest with you, I don't know, because I don't live in Canada. If somebody else wants to help you out in the draft, in the chat, maybe they can, but I am not going to be the guy for that, to be honest. And I'll send a link to get the 2025 season pass if you want one, but it's just flockfantasy.com. And if you want me to answer your questions again, it would be with promo code FLOCK. You would sign up. Okay. Jalen Warren goes. Jalen Warren has been rising because coming out of Pittsburgh, we've had some reports centering around Caleb Johnson failing in pass protection. We got Sammy Stacks out here. Sammy, did you get a chance to see the video? This is I play on Drafters, which is available in Ontario. But Sammy, we just posted the video. I don't want to give away too much, but Sammy is a pivotal piece in the Flock League video. Okay, let's move this over. I probably am going to go ahead and take Cooper Kupp here as our wide receiver 5. I'd be more excited about Kupp in best ball, where we're not going to have to predict when he has usable weeks, as opposed to in a regular redraft league where I just don't know if we're going to get the consistency where I'll know when to start this dude. Hunter says, I'm trying to link my ESPN league, but it's not working. If you're trying to link your ESPN league with flockfantasy.com, ESPN's a little bit weird. We actually had to develop a browser extension because you have to get some cookies from your ESPN private league. So if you're linking with Yahoo or Sleeper on flockfantasy.com, it's super, super easy, but ESPN's the tricky one. You actually have to do it on a computer, preferably using Google Chrome, and you add in like the Flock ESPN browser extension, and then you hit like get cookies. It grabs your cookies, it saves them, and then it links your league, and then you'll never have to do it again. And you can access your league on the My Teams page on the side on your phone. But the first time you do it, you do have to be on the computer, which I apologize about that. Let's move this down. So Travis Etienne's been a follower as well with the reports about Tank Bigsby. I don't know if we would take him here. I think we were going to take Justin Fields as our first quarterback to pair up with Garrett Wilson. Not the biggest Justin Fields guy in the world. I will acknowledge that even if he's a bad real life quarterback, he can still be great in fantasy, given the rushing upside, and that's going to provide us some spike weeks. Lucas says, Flock League video is great, Mason. I've watched, I've learned, I'll be back next year. I'm rooting for you in 2026, my guy. And I do need to give a massive apology and a massive thank you to everybody who submitted clips to be in the Flock League that did not get in. I am very thankful that so many of y'all submitted clips. It was super cool seeing all of y'all. And I truly mean that. I obviously wish I could put everybody in. But we were on that call determining the winner for like 2 hours, and the video got edited down to 55 minutes. But it was only possible to get like 10 people in the video. So I'm very sorry about that. I am super appreciative of everybody submitting clips though. And Sammy, I was watching the premiere, and in the live chat when the video was premiering, people were saying that you should have won. Okay. J.K. Dobbins off 114. Tyrone Tracy goes. So Cam Scadaboo, a bunch of people are panicking because you got Tyrone Tracy looking good in camp. Scadaboo gets banged up. We'll take Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet in a better offense. We're already in on this offense with Seattle. we think that Cam Scadaboo could be a good football player. We know Zach Charbonnet is a good football player. So we'll take Sharps. Okay. Master Truck says, hey, Mason, I just got the Underdog promo. When do I get the sheets? If you did it today, I will send out the sheets to you tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, just tomorrow. If you use the promo on Underdog code FLOCK a while ago, like if you used it anytime in 2025 before today, like if you used it a month ago, then it should already be in your inbox. Just look at your spam. Okay, McCarthy goes 122. Quarterback, Herbert, we have nothing. We could take the big Q. Jordan Love, we have nothing. We could take Romeo Dobbs. Lawrence, we have nothing. Stroud, we have nothing. So we'll just take Ramadre as RB4. And let's move this down. And it's going to be a little stressful at quarterback. I'm definitely less stressed because we took Justin Fields where we did. And that's a big reason why we take Fields there. It's like, oh, okay, well, this gives us some type of security at quarterback, where if we don't get a quarterback that we like falling to us in round 12, it's not the end of the world. Lee says, nice, I see the draft sheets in my email. Yeah, they most likely went to like your promotional folder or your spam folder if y'all didn't initially see them. And the reason for that is it's just like I sent out a mass email for the first time ever to a bunch of people. So I'd imagine Google's like, hey, this is probably spam. So if you respond to the email, just something like, hey, I want updates, the next time it gets sent out, you should actually be able to see it and it won't go to your spam. Justin Herbert goes 128. Jordan Love goes 129. Maxwell says, can confirm it went to my spam Gmail. I responded to it. Yeah, hopefully if you responded to it, it should go to your regular inbox next time. So we have a little run in the past two rounds where you only see two wide receivers get selected in rounds 10 and 11. I mean, this is kind of the norm at this point in underdog drafts specifically. Trevor Lawrence goes 135. Zick says, is the $34 worth it? Seems like a lot. And then spamming it, is the pass worth it? I'm not going to answer. Obviously, I'm very biased. My very biased opinion is it's the cheapest fantasy product, and I'd probably argue it's the best at the same time. Like the standard in the industry is people charging like $20 a month for Patreon Google Sheet. This is $34 one time, and you get access for 6 months to a site with a bunch of well-built-out tools, personal start-sit question and trade question advice, 4 draft guides, but I'm very biased. I will admit that. Okay. Najee Harris goes 140. Kyle Williams, I'm not the biggest fan of. If y'all remember back, I don't even know if that happened on live stream or just the YouTube comment section. But we will take Michael Penix here. I just want to make sure that we get another quarterback. I mean, this is a league where only one person in this draft is going to advance to the tournaments. And then in weeks 15 and 16, you only have to go up against one other person. So I think stacking in the flock tournament's actually going to be a little bit less important. Isaiah says, I spent 50 CAD on it. LOL. Ride with the dot. I appreciate you, my friend. Peyton says, signed up for a $34 deal and sent you a super chat. I will check that out. If it's a super chat on the site, I will check that out right now for you, my friend, if you're here. If you want me to, I can do it privately as well. Okay, Trey Benson goes 143. Jimmy Nerdtron says, by the way, I won this last year. Thanks for the 10K. Well, congrats, my friend. I got smoked in it. And full transparency. I know I say that every 10 seconds, but this is not my money. This is Underdog's money. So don't thank me for the 10K. Thank Underdog for the 10K. Okay. Leggett goes 146. Like, Underdog's the one setting all this up. And I think it's clear, probably to most people here, what we're going to do. But we're going to go ahead and we will take Kyle Pitts to get the stack with Michael Penix. And then you see Jaden Blue go at 147. You've had a bunch of Jaden Blue hype as of late. TK Birdie says, could you imagine if here's your little money? Literal money. Yeah, Underdog goes, hey, Mason, good news, bad news. We agreed that we are going to do 3 drafts, 3 flock tournament drafts a week until the season starts. That's the good news. The bad news is you're going to be responsible for holding the $44,000 from every tournament in your bank account. You're going to be responsible for paying it out to people at the very end. Yeah, that would not be ideal. So Nick says, are you doing super chat questions? I don't have super chats on YouTube turned on. The person referring to a super chat previously was referring to, you can like purchase personal advice on flockfantasy.com. And I think he was saying that he purchased a super message on flockfantasy.com, which, who was that who said that? It was Peyton Postlethwaite. I'm assuming you're Po21. Please let me know if that's true, and I'd be happy to answer your question right now. Frank says the craziest league safe of all time. I'm sitting here with my girlfriend, my little brother, and the dog going spazzing like accountants trying to figure out who to send what money to. Peyton says, yo, yes, Po21 is me. Okay, let me go ahead and pull this up, and then I will get that answered for you ASAP. So Demario Douglas goes 153. We're not taking another tight end. I mean, we're already sitting with Brock Bowers, Kyle Pitts, right? So our days of drafting tight ends are over. It's just running back, quarterback, wide receiver from now on. Okay, Jack Besh goes, I'm going to take Geno Smith to pair up with Brock Bowers, and we will be done at quarterback. Obviously, you can ask about anything. You know, if you're new here, warning, I talk about a lot more than just football. I'm sure people would like it more if we talked a little more fantasy, a little less randomness, but we live stream every single day, so we got to mix in some of the randomness. But Po21 asks, 1 keeper league, keep Rice in the 5th, Worthy in the 8th, or Ford in the 11th. So when you're looking at like an 8th round keeper cost versus an 11th round keeper cost, in reality, it does not matter. Like, I actually recorded a strategy video that is going to hit the channel soon, and we actually covered keeper in it just for a small little section. And I think that this is like the perfect example of a question that this applies for. 99% of the keeper questions that I see, it's just keep the best player. The opportunity cost between an 8th versus an 11th round pick is meaningless. The expected hit rate is very much the same. So between Rice in the 5th, Worthy in the 8th, Ford in the 11th, Worthy is the player that I have ranked highest there. And I would 100% keep Worthy in the 8th over Jerome Ford in the 11th. We are wide receiver and running back. I am going to take that question as a sign that we should draft Jerome Ford as our last RB here. So we'll go with it. Raphael says, Mason, who do you think is in the Epstein files? Well, I think I covered this in a previous live stream, but I know that I am in the files, which that's the reason why they haven't been released yet, is I've called in a couple favors and I've said, hey guys, we kind of got to keep this under wraps. Y'all told me y'all weren't recording anything. So don't be surprised when they drop. And the first name on the list is Flock Fantasy. Let's move this over. Wandell Robinson goes 177. Victoria's Fantasy says, I didn't see you there. That's crazy. Yeah, I was actually there the weekend after you were, my guy. I mean, they were telling me stories of you on the island, and they were saying you were a hoot and a holler, and I believe it. But I was trying to live up to your legacy. I was doing the limbo, you know. I was wearing like a hula skirt. I was pulling out all the tricks. Okay. BP says, didn't you do your Ironman on Epstein's Island? That is true. We swam around the island, biked around the island. But Mason Taylor off the board at 183. Shit goes 185. That's such a funny concept. You do your Ironman around Epstein Island. Okay, DJ Giddens off 186. We will take Darius Slayton. Pretty confident he's going to be in 2 wide receiver sets. Darius Slayton's like the perfect example of a player that makes no difference in your regular fantasy football league, because when would you ever know when to put him in your lineup? You just simply wouldn't. However, I think we had a couple of usable weeks out of Darius Slayton in best ball. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not going to pull up some of y'all's chats, but y'all are pretty damn funny. Okay. Let's move this over. So now running back, we have Barkley, Isaiah Pacheco, Zach Charbonnet, Ramondre Stevenson, Jerome Ford. Wide receiver, we have Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, Devonta Smith, Michael Penix, Cooper Kupp, Darius Slayton, and we'll take 2 more bum wide receivers at the very end. Quarterback, we have Fields stacked with Wilson, Penix stacked with Pitts, Geno stacked with Bowers. So, and then tight end, we have Brock Bowers and Kyle Pitts. So, for a team that has, like, any team that you ever draft with Brock Bowers, it never looks that sexy. It never looks that good, because obviously your running back room or wide receiver room is inherently going to be a little bit weaker. But I still like this squad. I'm going to take Tyler Lockett. I think Lockett's become a much better pick in this range now that Treylon Burks is cut. So you're just making space for a guaranteed roster spot for these, like, round 17, 18 Tennessee Titans. Vinny says, don't forget to fix your location, sir. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to enter in the Flock tournament on my phone, and I will count down from 3 when we do this. Okay. 3, 2, 1. We just entered into the other Flock tournament on the phone. And so let me queue up some wide receivers, and then we'll pull up our next draft. I'm not a big Jalen Coker guy. We can take Alec Manor. I like Roman Wilson here. Jalen Naylor actually is probably a little interesting in this tournament. I'll mix in some Adonai Mitchell. Isaac Tesla getting the bump after the Hall of Fame game. So we'll mix in Jalen Tolbert. And then just to guarantee we get a wide receiver, we'll queue up all these guys. So let me pull up our next drafts. And we'll run it. Okay. We get the 1 slot in this one. And let me know if you're in this draft with us. Alex says he's in at 3. Rep to King Forever says the Flock vid was pretty funny. Yeah, let me know if you watched the Flock League video already, or like when you watch it later. Leave it in the comment section who you think should have won, because I'm very interested to know, like, if y'all have the same take on, like, the winner as everybody else did. Because in my opinion, while I definitely think the winner of it had a phenomenal clip, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, I don't think it was like a runaway. Like, I think that there were a lot of very good clips. Okay. Taylor says Antler, he put so much more effort in his vid than anyone. I liked Antlers for sure. Like I said, Antler was my vote to get in. Antler was the only 10 out of 10 I gave. CD Lamb goes at 5. Nico Collins at 6. Grant says, are you doing any BBM drafts tonight? Probably not. We are probably going to do the flock tournaments, and then maybe we do a draft on flockfantasy.com. There are a bunch of updates actually that just got pushed out to the drafts on flockfantasy.com. But those aren't real money leagues. Those are just regular redraft mock drafts. Okay, Devon A. Chen goes at 11. Kellen, happy to see you, my guy. So Alexander says, wait, are there 2 flock tournaments open? I can only see one. Yeah, no, there's only one flock tournament open, but you can draft 3 teams in it. See a bunch of people wanting the first person to win. Well, if y'all wanted Antler Ice to win, leave it in the comment section of that video. Because the other creators, I promise you, they read the comment section. They'll get your opinion. So Tyreek moving up massively in this draft, going at 18. I didn't want to bring this up because it is sad, sad news, but there are rumors right now that you potentially have Keenan Allen going to the Chargers. Now, if that were to happen, it's not fun for anybody involved. Definitely not fun for the big Q. We will take Josh Jacobs and Trey McBride. I think Trey McBride outscores Harrison this year, and you get the points at tight end. So, and then again, I had to stop myself from taking so much Trey McBride at the 2-3 turn earlier in the offseason because you were able to get like George Kittle at the 4-5 turn, but you never get Kittle there anymore. Kittle's now late 3rd, early 4th. Gotti says, have you already talked about the Amari Cooper retirement? I did not see that. And honestly, I drafted a decent amount around 18 Amari Cooper early this offseason. So if Amari did actually retire, that absolutely sucks for me. Let me see. God. Oh, no, thank God. Whew. Okay, that scared me. So here's the tweet. After 9 NFL seasons, former Bills, Browns, Cowboys, and Raiders wide receiver Amari Cooper has decided to retire, he said Friday morning. But this was a fake account. Thank God for this little like blurb at the bottom. But because like I said, I drafted some Amari Cooper in round 18 early. So Amari retiring would not be good for the boy. So Devontae Adams goes 30, Josh Allen 31. You could also decide to go with an elite quarterback there instead of McBride. Hambonen says, thoughts on pick 7 taking Achane over everyone else? Pick 7 in this draft took Barkley, which getting Barkley after Nico Collins seems great. But if the top 6 guys go and you want to take Achane over CMC, I'm not going to stop you doing it. I have them ranked in the same tier. Jordan, probably not going to get the Flock League Award show, which I apologize for. Okay. Sutton goes 37. So that team at 12 going out there and reaching to get the unique pairing. Like, there's going to be really nobody in this tournament with Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra, DJ Moore, and Sutton. Because Malik Neighbors and Amon-Ra always go at the 1-2 turn. DJ Moore and Sutton always go at the 4-5 turn. So maybe you're sacrificing a bit if you think that Mike Evans, Breece Hall, Xavier Worthy are much better picks than DJ Moore or Cortland Sutton. But you are having a very unique team that in week 17, nobody's really going to match. Which I think that maybe matters a little more in like a BBM tournament where in week 15, week 16, you're having to play against like 15 other teams. Here in week 15 and 16, it's only mono-e-mono. So don't know if it matters as much. Seahawks fan says, what TV shows do you watch, Mason? So I only get to watch TV from like January through May or June-ish. Once I start live streaming every single day and making videos every single day, I don't get to watch any TV. The TV that we watched this year, though, January through June, we watched The Boys, which we made it like 3.5 seasons. And the first few seasons of The Boys, amazing. Like the 2 seasons in, I was calling, telling everybody, like telling my family, telling everybody I knew, hey, you got to watch The Boys. Have you ever seen it? This team taking Jalen Hurts as if I'm not going to take Devonta Smith anyway. We're going to take Smith, and I think I'm going to take Kenneth Walker here as well. But then, like, whatever the last season was of The Boys, like, they shot it just completely. Like, I couldn't even get through it. Like, we watched, like, 3 episodes. So, never even finished it. We watched Severance. Severance was very good. What else did we watch? We watched White Lotus, of course. Let me see what else there is. We watched Severance, White Lotus, The Boys. If y'all were in the live stream earlier in the year, was I talking about any other shows? We watched a little bit of The Studio, which was the Seth Rogen show on Apple. We didn't finish it. Were there any other big shows this year? Humamas says Peacemaker's great. Haven't seen it. Did not see The Penguin. Maxwell says Seinfeld versus The Office for the best sitcom. Probably showing my age here, but like The Office is the best sitcom, and it's not even remotely close. And which is also one of the most basic and boring takes ever, but it's because it's true. Ben says Landman. We have not seen Landman. I'm hoping that we can watch it. I told the lady that we would watch it before the season starts, and with how busy I've been over the past few days, I've realized like it's not happening. Oh, we started The Last of Us. So we watched season 1 of The Last of Us was good. Season 2 was garbage. We watched 3 or 4 episodes and couldn't finish. I watched Squid Game myself. The lady didn't. I didn't know there was a season 3. I watched the season 2. Is there a season 3? DNB says The League is funnier than The Office. The League is hilarious. I did not watch The Rehearsal. I think maybe we watched 1 episode. Never watched Fallout. I didn't even know Fallout was a show. I thought it was just a video game. Maxwell says Squid Game season 2 is split up into 2 parts. Spoiler alert. Mute me for the next 10 seconds if you haven't seen Squid Games 2. I got to the point where it was like he got betrayed at the very end. They had the war. They had the little battle. Got to the hallway. And then they were like shooting down a hallway. Then the other guy came behind him. And that was like the end of it. Was that part 2 of season 2 or is that part 1? Like, do I need to watch any more or am I done? Nathan told me that Silo was really good. I haven't seen Silo though. Ooh, people are saying there's a new season last month. All right, I will watch that as I'm like updating the draft guide or something. We will take both of the Niners receivers here. So Juwan Jennings tweaks the calf, not looking great, but sportsbooks still have the Niners projected out as a top 5 offense this season. It's not like we should expect Brandon Ayuk to be available anytime soon. It's not like they have the cap space to go and trade for Terry McLaurin. So there will have to be points scored at the wide receiver position here unless CMC and George Kittle are both just the biggest league winners ever. So we'll take Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. Okay. So we will definitely watch, because I have like 2 computer monitors, and working on a lot of that draft guide stuff is super boring. Just because it's like 50 sheets and I just have to like be tracking a bunch of ADP formatting sheets. It's not like intensive work. It's just like a bunch of busy work almost. So I can definitely throw something on like a second monitor as I work. And I think I'll do that with Squid Game. Rick says, made 1 episode Last of Us season 2. Same with the boys last season. Yeah, I couldn't get through either. The Last of Us 2 season 2 was rough. Like in season 1 of The Last of Us, like the first 4 or 5 episodes, I was like, this is incredible. This is Game of Thrones level television. This is Breaking Bad level television, which I know that sounds like crazy to say with how, like, in my opinion, how bad it turned out being. But like The Last of Us, the very beginning of season 1 was amazing. Quincy says, on Underdog, I saw the Flock community contest. What's that about? That's the draft that we are in right now. They are doing 3 of them a week until the season starts. Looking at the structure of this, it's a little different than a regular Underdog tournament, where in weeks 1 through 14, the regular season, the highest scoring team is going to advance to the fantasy football playoff tournament. Where in week 15, you'll play against one other person. If you beat them in week 16, you'll go up against one other person. If you beat them in week 17, you'll go up against 99 other people. And if you beat them, turn $10 into $10,000. If you get second, $10 into $5,000, all the way down the line. Okay. Let's move this down. Frank says the girl who played Abby should have been Ellie. Yeah, I mean, I saw online like everybody making fun of the girl that was the main character in The Last of Us. And to the point where it was just kind of like mean and just over the top and rude. But to be fair at the same time, she was bad. Like, I don't want to say she ruined the show. I think a lot of things ruined the show, but she didn't help. Okay, Kyler Murray goes 93. I would have loved to get Kyler here to pair up with McBride. But when you take McBride before Marvin Harrison goes, you should kind of assume in round 8 that a team's going to take Kyler Murray before you. That's kind of the expectation. Okay, Baker Mayfield goes 94. So we'll take Kupp here for sure, just like we did in the last draft. Not going to take Ayuk. I think in a tournament like this, I want players who are going to score points week 1. So for that reason, we'll probably take Travis Etienne over Darnell Mooney as well. Okay, let's move this over. So now running back, I have Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, and Travis Etienne. Tight end, Trey McBride. Wide receiver, Chase, Devonta Smith, Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, and Cooper Kupp. And Blazin says, have you seen Better Call Saul? Of course I've seen Better Call Saul. It's also like, here's my opinion, and I know this is like, it's a dumb take or whatever. But some of the shows that are widely like the most basic and most popular shows ever, a lot of times the reason is it's because they were the best ever. Like it's the most basic and it's the most boring take to say Breaking Bad was the best show of all time. But the reason it's the most basic and boring take to say that is because it is objectively true. So, you're not going to get me to ever say anything bad about Breaking Bad. And obviously Better Call Saul is great as well. I think saying Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad is too much of a hot take. CJ says, is the only way to get a team review being an annual motherflocker? Yeah, so the $34 season pass does not get you a team review. What the $34 season pass gets you on the site will be everything that comes with the site, all the draft guides, all the rankings and everything, and all the tools until January 1st. And then for the free vouchers, it gets you free trade questions and start set questions for whatever promo code that you use. If you want me to answer your start set questions and trade questions, that would be promo code FLOCK. But the roster review, if you wanted that to come with it for free, that would be the annual Mother Flocker. And that would also get you access for 12 months rather than just until January 1st. You could also purchase a team review on the site, but purchasing a team review on the site, to be honest, is going to be expensive. And the reason it's expensive is just because it takes some time, and we don't have all the time in the world. So if you were going to purchase a team review on the site, I would highly just recommend, because like the cost of a team review and a season pass is the same cost is probably more than the annual Mother Flocker. So I would just get the annual Mother Flocker if that's what you wanted. Hunter says, is it possible to play yourself in the 1v1 semis? I think Underdog actively avoids putting people against each other in that, but I'm never going to say that for 100% certainty. I've never played myself in any semifinals of any tournaments, but Michael says, my hot take was that El Camino was necessary. The El Camino movie was, in my opinion, I don't want to say necessary, but we are going to take David Njoku here and then not draft another tight ends. Quarterback, we have no stacking options, so we are just going to take whoever I think is going to score the most. And Herbert's saying he's going to run the ball more this year, so we'll run with it. So the El Camino movie, was it great? No. But I am such a Breaking Bad fan that I was so happy that they made it just because I wanted Aaron Paul to make a lot more money. You know, like I'm happy they made it just so everybody with Breaking Bad could get paid a little more money. Like, that show brought me so much joy that I'm like, I think some people get envious of like when like celebs like Bryan Cranston, if like you heard like, oh, this dude has $500 million, I think the average like response to that would be like, F that, this dude doesn't deserve $500 million or whatever obnoxious number it would be. But for me, I'm like, this dude brought me so much joy that you could tell me he's a billionaire and I'd be like, good for him. Good for him. Okay. Let's move this over. Michael says, speaking of Breaking Bad, have you watched the new Dexter? Which I haven't even seen the initial Dexter. I maybe have watched like half of season 1 of Dexter when I was in high school. But Cold World says, this is the best draft I've seen you do all year. C+ grade. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. Okay. McCarthy makes it all the way down to 131. He was the best quarterback according to ADP when we were on the clock at 121. But good for us to see all the tight ends go, right? Like I would have been upset if Dallas Goedert made it to us at 144 when I'd have been upset that we took David Njoku at 120 there. BP says, Mason's so dialed in on fantasy, didn't know about season game. Well, the thing is, Squid Game Season 3, how would I have known about it? They took like 3 years or 4 years to go from Season 1 to Season 2, and you're telling me they're taking 3 months to go from Season 2 to Season 3? Okay, Ray Davis off 137. And it's only like 2 weeks until my draft. So I'm going to need to do a flock mock after this. So after this underdog draft, we're probably going to hop in a mock draft on flockfantasy.com. Depending on what time that gets done, maybe we do another underdog draft after that one. Because we can get in 3 flock tournaments on underdog. So Michael Penix goes 138. Ben, we don't know our pick order for the flock league yet. If I did know it, I would just be doing the mock draft from there every night, but we still have to determine that. We can't take a tight ends. I think we just go with Rachaad White and Tank Bigsby. Let me think about this a little bit more. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Devonta Smith, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Cooper Kupp. So I think we are fine at receiver to just lock in our 4th and 5th running back. So the spots that I probably want in drafts this year, 5, 6, 11, and 12. That's where I like my teams the most. And that's probably what I'm going to shoot for. So now wide receiver, we have Chase, Devonta Smith, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Cooper Kupp. Running back, Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Rachaad White, Tank Bigsby. Tight end, we have Trey McBride, David Njoku, and we have Justin Herbert at quarterback. Okay. Kyle Pitts goes 150. Jaden Blue 151. Ben says he got Hurts at the 503 yesterday and couldn't believe it. Jalen Hurts used to go in the 5th round all the time in these drafts. That's why, again, I showed you all last week my top 5 most invested into players on Underdog. Jalen Hurts is in my top 5. You used to be able to get Jalen Hurts at the 4 or 5 turn in like every draft. He's definitely risen where it's tougher to grab him now. Like the AJ Brown team takes him a lot in round 4. Which I still think is a fine price. I think it's probably where he should have been going all along. That's why we drafted so much of him. So Cam Ward goes 160. We definitely still need a quarterback. I mean, our only quarterback is Justin Herbert so far. Let's move this over. Zach Ertz goes 161. We definitely need at least a stack or 2 here at QB because realistically, it's a 100-person Week 17 final. So I don't think we need to have every quarterback stacked. Obviously, I'd like to have as many as possible. But we probably need at least one potential spike here. Drew says the flock tournament's filling quickly. Yeah. Last year, they would fill within 24 hours. I'd expect them to fill within 24 hours this year as well. which is why we're doing 3 tournaments a week until the season starts. Okay, Jack Besh goes 166. I know what we are doing here if we get the opportunity. I mean, I'll give you the script. We're going to go with 2 of these quarterbacks. The question is which 2. I feel like we need to go Darnold no matter what because we do have the cup stack. So let's go ahead and let's get Sam Darnold off the board. And then Richardson could get... We'll just go with the guy that we know is going to start all 17. We'll go with Geno Smith. I guess technically we could go Deonta Thornton later. Heidi says, I just bought the $34 pass. Are you dropping anything today or tomorrow? No, you should have access already to the draft sheets on the site and the consensus ADP and everything and all the other draft guides. So you won't see so if you look at the recent post on the site, you won't actually see new post. What you'll see is you'll just go to this whenever you want to see a draft sheet or something. And I can go ahead and I can just edit that post myself on the back end. So I'll just make sure the most up-to-date version's always there for you. If you're talking about site upgrades that we just made, we did just make a pretty big upgrade when it comes to the draft stuff, which we'll see in just one second. Let me show you or just pull up quickly. I sent the announcement in the Discord, all the updates that the drafts just got. So one, it looks like we just passed 26,000 drafts on the site. I thought it was 25,000. But we added bye weeks to all the players. We added the 2024 points per game to all the non-rookies. All the creator draft bots now have images. You can select on a team and highlight the entire row to get a better view for the draft. So bunch of improvements to the drafts were made today. But in terms of new content posted on the site, Domain posted their draft guide today, which was new. Okay. Keenan Allen goes 181. So Keenan getting the bump here. Nice and blunt. Happy to see you, my friend. Asking if we're doing one more. I think the next one we're going to do is going to be a regular redraft mock on the site. And then maybe we'll do an underdog draft after that one because I can get in 3 flock tournaments on underdog. Okay. Mason Taylor goes 183. Good. Get as many of these quarterbacks off the board as possible. Chig goes 184. TK Bird says, are you saying the underdog flock tournaments might fill right now? They dropped 2 hours ago. Let me pull them up. No, they're not close to filling. You still got plenty of time to get them in. They're not even halfway filled. Gilmore goes 187, so we're going to be able to take a couple of wide receivers. So again, tight end, I already have Trey McBride, David Njoku. I'm not taking the tight ends. Running back, we already have Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Rashad White, Tank Bigsby. I'm not taking another running back. Quarterback, we have Herbert, Darnold, and Geno. I'm not taking another QB. This is the only position we're looking at. Deonta Thornton off the board. We could have taken him to pair up with Geno Smith, but now we're probably not going to take a Raider. Rashad Smith goes. So y'all know I love Michael Wilson here. Michael Wilson has been falling in drafts, so that is a little concerning because I've drafted a decent amount of them. And then I'd rather have Darius Slayton over DeAndre Hopkins, so we'll take Darius Slayton. And then let me queue up some more wide receivers. Definitely think that we need 9 receivers on this team, or I'm sorry, 8 wide receivers. We have Chase, Devonta Smith, Jennings, Pearsall, Kupp, Michael Wilson, and Darius Slayton. So we can go, I guess we can go Yoshivash and say like, what if Higgins goes down? I'm gonna like lock it again with the Burke stuff. We can add Alec Aomanor here for the same reason. We can go Roman Wilson, running with the ones. I'm not a Coker guy, not an Atwell guy. I guess Ray McLeod with the Mooney injury. We can go Adonai Mitchell. Mix in some Jalen Tolbert. And hell, we'll throw in an Amari Cooper. And then just in case y'all try to troll me and take all the receivers, we'll queue up the guys at the top as well. So let me go ahead and let me hop into just a regular redraft mock draft real quick. So again, this is not a best ball draft. This is just going to be a regular mock draft for me to practice for the Flock League here. And let's pull this up. We are going to be getting into, so just go to the mock draft section on the site whenever you want. There are public lobbies for Dynasty Startup drafts or for 2025 drafts. You can join a public lobby, PPR, non-PPR, half PPR, or you can do a draft simulation. But we are going to do a PPR mock draft. And look, I got my little picture in here. So pretty cool. Let's see. Draft starts in 10. Okay, so we are selecting at 6. Realistically, if I get to pick my spot, I will probably choose number 6. Just because it's tougher now with the Jefferson injury. If you think that Jefferson has to slide with the hamstring, then maybe you can make an argument that you want to be inside the top 5 picks. Massive Audio says audio is still too low to hear. I'm sorry. I know I see your comments always commenting that the audio is too low. CD Lamb's the number 1 guy in the expert average, and he's the number 1 guy in my rankings as well. So I'll take CD Lamb. But nobody ever else tells me that the audio is too low on these videos. So here's what I'm going to need you to do. If you're listening on a phone, there are 2 buttons on the side right here if it's an iPhone. The lower one turns the volume down. The top one turns the volume up. You may want to press the top one a couple times. That should make me louder on your device. I'm sorry for being an ass. You know I got to troll a bit. But after we go with Lamb, you have Neighbors, Puka, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and CMC all off the board. Okay, so interesting to see the CMC slide. But again, I mean, McCaffrey is going to be a little scarier in your regular redraft league where you don't just shoot for the highest ceiling possible every time. And then one thing that we can do now is we can highlight a row. We can go, oh, this is my team here. Oh, you want to see this team? Here's this team. Oh, you want to see this team? Here's this team. So that's added. And also, if you are going to a draft simulation and you have to draft against like the Mason bot, the Avery bot, the Nathan bot, the Zach bot, the Danny bot, the FSC bot, whatever it is, you actually see the images of the people you're drafting against there as well. And then, one other thing that just got pushed out on the site too is when you're choosing between your guys, you can see on the sidebar here their 2024 points per game, their bye week, and then obviously their average expert rank. Seahawks fan says, do those bots use their own rankings? Yeah, so you will see. I can't join another draft right now since I'm in this one. But you'll see like in those drafts with like a Mason bot, it'll be drafting off the Mason rankings. And then obviously it will take into account positions and stuff. So it won't be just going off the rankings one for one. And if you see like a fantasy stock exchange bot, like an FSC bot in your draft, it will be taking the average of Danny and Bush's rankings. And then that's what I'll be using. But BP coming out with Adono, you know, I'm always happy to see you, my guy. Thank you for the support. If y'all don't know, BP has been with us forever now. But we're going to take A.J. Brown. I mean, A.J. Brown's a very easy selection. Top a guy in my rankings. Top in the expert average as well. You do see now, again, Chase Brown with the continued climb going at the 204. Which when we made that video like a couple days ago talking about Chase Brown versus Kyron Williams and saying don't draft Kyron Williams in the late second with his redraft ADP, draft Chase Brown in the third instead. Looks like that ADP may be climbing. Looks like you may no longer be able to get Chase Brown in the third round. BP says, I'm sorry I couldn't get you Jinxie. It's all right. We tried our best. It was a pipe dream all along, but we got Sammy now. Jonathan Taylor off the board. Josh Allen goes to the 302. JSN goes 303. So here, I'm drafting as if this is going to be a double flex format where we can just start a ridiculous amount of receivers. If you're using my rankings, I have Amari Hampton as the best player. The expert average has Marvin Harrison. This may change, of course. I mean, if we get a report that Najee Harris does actually have 2 eyeballs still, and Najee Harris is going to be back at practice on Monday, then at that point, yes, we probably should be taking Marvin Harrison ahead of Amari Hampton. But if you're telling me Hampton, first round draft capital, size to be a bell cow, elite athleticism, great receiving skill set in college, running behind one of the best offensive lines in the league, and an offense that wants to run the ball a ton, he checks every single box you could ever ask for. Like realistically, if he swapped spots with Ashton Jeanty situationally, and Ashton Jeanty was on the Chargers, Jeanty may be my 101 in that scenario. Like this Chargers setup, if Najee Harris isn't the thorn in the side, is the best situation you could ever imagine. So we'll run with it. Jalen Hurts goes at the 309. Interesting to see Hurts go ahead of Daniels in this. Kyron goes to the 312. I think in a redraft format, like Kyron there is an absolute no-brainer. I don't like the Tet pick at the end of the third. I think Tet's a little more interesting in like an underdog best ball tournament than he would be in your regular redraft league. Okay. Brees, Kittle, both off. Let's see. You're looking at my rankings here. The expert average will have the wide receivers higher. But I think we're just going to run with James Cook. We start this draft with Lamb and A.J. Brown. James Cook's the highest ranked player according to my rankings. And at the same time, I think at the end of the day, this is a very valid pick at running back. So I'll run with it. I love this team. CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Amari Hampton, James Cook, RB1, RB2. Realistically, I think we could have 2 wide receiver 1s and 2 running back 1s on our team if this plays out well. We'll see. Seahawks fan says, I heard Najee has 3 eyes now. He's like, he's the, what's it called? God, from Game of Thrones, the Raven. That's Najee Harris now. So after we take James Cook, you have a run on receivers. You have Terry, Devonta Smith, Metcalf, Worthy, DJ Moore. Worthy's my favorite wide receiver in that range. I definitely like him a little less in redraft than I would in best ball, but I like him in both in round 4. And God, I like our team. Seems like the last few mocks I've done, I've gone with like an elite quarterback or an elite tight end or potentially both. And your team just looks so much better if you decide to wait on QB and wait on tight end. Now, the trap that you definitely want to avoid is taking like the mid QBs in the middle rounds. Day one, yes, I have played in a Devy league, but now I am too out of touch to play in Devy. So highest player according to the expert average would be George Pickens. Highest player according to my rankings is Jalen Waddle. Again, you can go back to the video that we posted, I want to say 2 months ago, where Jalen Waddle was going in the middle of round 5, and I was explaining why I was not really going to take him there very often and why I thought he was overrated. But the second that Jonnu Smith gets dealt, I'm a lot more interested in Jalen Waddle. So we'll run with it. Dylan says Rashee Rice will be the steal of the draft. Mason has him ranked at like 55. What a genius. So it's all going to come down to the suspension with Rice. Like if Rice is suspended for 8 games and you get 6 games in the regular season with Rashee Rice, frankly, it may not matter if he comes in as a high-end wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 1. You may already be bounced. So I'm not going to disagree. I think Rice at the 505, strong value. I have him ranked, I think, slightly ahead of that. Maybe right around there. But since we've had the update with Rashee Rice like a couple weeks ago regarding this suspension, specifically in underdog drafts, I've stopped drafting him because he's moved from being like a late second under the assumption he's not getting suspended to a late third, early fourth, assuming he's going to miss 4 to 8 games. And I expected him to fall. Like, I would rather have Worthy straight up, which Worthy goes ahead of him in this draft. But like most underdog drafts we do, Rice still goes ahead of Worthy, which I'm just not doing. Okay. Ben says, just got him in the flock draft after getting Saquon, JT, and Jacobs in the first 3 rounds. Hopefully you have enough wide receiver production to get through. If you do, your team's going to be nasty for weeks 15 through 17. Demonic Celery says he had 0% Rice up until this week. I wish I was that smart, but I was believing people when they were saying that Rashee Rice wasn't going to get suspended. So I was drafting Rice at the 2-3 turn. So highest ranked player according to my rankings is Burrow. According to the expert average, it's Burrow, then Mixon. I think I'm going to ignore both, though. I think we're going to go DeAndre Swift as our running back 3, and we're going to try to just pass on the mid-round quarterbacks. Again, like I said, the past few mock drafts that we've done, we have gone with like an elite quarterback or an elite tight ends, and I haven't liked our draft as much. So I'm going to play around with this. What happens if we just wait until the late rounds and get 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends at the very end? Lee says, I'm a sheep too. The masses sold me on Rice. Yeah. I should have thought a little bit harder about it. I should have realized, like, hey, there hasn't been anything that's actually told us Rashee Rice isn't going to get suspended this year. Why am I letting everybody bully me into just accepting that as reality? But I got bullied. I accepted it as reality. I was drafting Rashee Rice at the 2-3 turn. Wish I wasn't. But it is what it is. But here's the squad so far. We have Lamb, A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Amari Hampton, James Cook, DeAndre Swift at running back. So I really like the team. Egbuka goes 702. Egbuka's been a big-time riser. I just moved him up my own rankings as well. Josh Downs goes 703. If you're looking at the draft sheets, Josh Downs is like the funniest example of a player that has like an ADP across like Sleeper, Yahoo, and ESPN of like 130. However, in like the expert average ranks on the site, the dude's at like 80. Jerry Jeudy 704. Let's move this over. So these are my rankings. Pollard, Brian Robinson, then Joe Mixon, Hawkinson, Khalil Shakir. The expert average has it as Joe Mixon, top dog, then Hawkinson and Mahomes. But we are going to be going off my rankings because I'm the one winning the flock league this year. Khalil Shakir goes. So we're going to take Tony Pollard as our 4th RB. Diego says, getting Hopkins suspension season flashbacks. I remember a big mistake that I made, like speaking of Hopkins, is the year he got injured in Tennessee. And I wasn't drafting him beforehand, but once he got injured and he fell like 3 or 4 rounds in ADP, I was like, oh, I'll get the closing line value. We'll take him a bunch. And then obviously just never did anything. Matthew Golden goes 7-10. I laughed. I checked the Flock League chat, and the winner of the newest video, who's in the league now, Thomas, the editor of this channel, is in the Flock League, and he voted. He scored the guy a 5 out of 10, and then Sammy went, bro, Thomas a 5 ? Dude thought this was American Idol. Which, if you didn't watch the video, it's not that funny, but it's really funny to me. Let me see what number draft this is. Sorry, just like seeing how many drafts are on the site. 26,263. So hopefully by the morning, there'll be 27,000 drafts on the site. So Cup goes at the 804. Obviously, we're not really looking to take another running back here in round 8 or round 9. Moving this over, my highest ranked players, Ricky Pearsall. The average experts' highest ranked players, Ricky Pearsall as well. We could use another receiver. We only have 3. Again, the Flock League's a double flex format, so I can start up to 4 receivers, but at the same time, we can start up to 4 running backs as well. So, I mean, we have plenty of depth at both positions. I think we have plenty of upside at both positions as well. D. McCoy says, wait, we can audition for the Flock League. What rock was under? I made an announcement in the Discord. I made an announcement on Twitter. I only talked about it on this live stream for a month. So I'm sorry, my guy. Maybe we'll hold auditions for it again next year. We probably will, because it was a ton of fun watching y'all's. And I'm assuming because, like, since it'll be our second year doing it, I'm assuming the clips will probably be even better. Okay, Caleb goes 901. And this is maybe the point where, like, can go quarterback. But the thing with deciding to take a quarterback here is team 1 has a quarterback. Team 2 has a quarterback. Team 3 has a quarterback. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 and 12. The only other team that does not have a quarterback is team 10. So if we don't think that there's a teardrop at quarterback coming soon, we can probably get somebody comparable on the way back. Now, looking at my rankings, I have Andrews as the highest ranked player. Looking at the average expert, Tyler Warren is ranked ahead of him. There are 3 teams after us that have not taken a tight end. So because there are 3 teams after us that have not taken a tight end, as opposed to only 1 team after us that has not taken a quarterback, I will go with the tight ends and assume that we get a quarterback on the way back. So I'm going to go with Mark Andrews over Tyler Warren in a redraft league, especially. Obviously, Underdog Best Ball may be a little bit different if you're optimizing for the final 3 weeks. But here, I think Andrews should be a riser with the Isaiah Likely foot injury. He needed surgery for it. They're saying he's going to be out for like 6 weeks. I mean, if you look at a calendar, the season's less than 6 weeks away. And if that lingers into the year, Mark Andrews could be even more exciting. So we'll take Andrews as our first tight end off the board. Josie says, my audition next year will be little everybody in Scary Music. That's hilarious, my guy. Demonic Sellers auditioning next year. Yeah, definitely get them in. Again, I want to give a massive thank you to everybody who auditioned, even if you didn't make the video. Griffith says, can you make your own custom rankings on the Flock website? As of now, no, you can't. We used to have it where users could make their own rankings, and nobody ever did. Now, at the same time, flockfantasy.com at that point was way harder to use. It was a way worse website. It was way harder to make rankings. So now that it's much easier to make rankings, I'm sure that if we were to do it again, people would probably use it. So we'll consider doing it again. So these are the highest ranked players according to me. The highest ranked player according to the expert average is Darnell Mooney. My highest was Jalen Warren, but he's now gone. My second highest is Darnell Mooney. We'll take Mooney, and I'm going to roll the dice at quarterback. Because again, you look at that dynamic in this draft. Every single person in this draft at this point has a quarterback. So if they take another, they're taking a backup. Which maybe everybody here takes their backup quarterback and I end up looking like an idiot. That's definitely possible. But it's something that I need to test out for sure. D. McCoy says Mason versus Sal in the Flock League finals this year. I'm calling it. Well, Sal was dead last for a good portion of the season last year. Would have to improve quite a bit. Okay, Javonte off the board at the 10:09. So I feel good at every position that we have, other than quarterback, of course. Like tight end, I think Andrews is a strong play. But Waddle, wide receiver 3, Pearsall, wide receiver 4, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 5. Why I feel completely fine about taking Darnell Mooney where we did is, like, it doesn't really matter if he's going to be out at the beginning of the year. Because if he misses like a week or two, he was never hitting my starting lineup anyway. At this point in the draft, I'm taking depth that I can throw into a flex spot during a bye week. So I'm like kind of fine with the Mooney selection, even if that shoulder injury holds him out the first few weeks. So these are my rankings. My rankings are starting to have the quarterbacks at the top. The expert average also have the quarterbacks at the top. The expert average have Dak and Drake May as the top 2 quarterbacks. My rankings, I have Jared Goff over them. But also, I can probably tell you that the reason the expert average have Dak and May that high is, you know, Danny's got to root for his guys. Sammy says, first thing I'm doing after watching the auditions vid is getting a nice camera. Laptop cam, got to cut it. Here, real quick, I think between Tucker Kraft and Jared Goff, there are other interesting tight ends that can make it back, like Dallas Goedert, Dalton Key. There are so many quarterbacks at fit. I'm going to take our second tight end. May seem very weird to take our second tight end with Kraft before our first QB, but I still think that we're really easily going to get 2 quarterbacks in rounds 12 and 13. So, but Sammy, heads up, how everybody records their videos, or at least how I record my videos in the Flock League, is I think you have an iPhone. When we were texting, I think you have iMessage. Is literally you just take out your phone, turn it sideways like this, and record yourself sideways with the back camera. So you don't need to buy a fancy camera or anything. If you have an iPhone, it's good for it. Scratch says, what app is this? This is just flockfantasy.com. You can always go and join a public mock draft lobby whenever you want. Just go to the mock draft tab. Here are the 2025 public mock drafts. You can get a PPR, non-PPR, half PPR, whatever you're wanting. Or you can start a private draft, or you can do a draft simulation against bots. And you can change your league settings, obviously, for that as well. So Kyle Williams goes right after we take Tucker Kraft. Toot and Najee go too. Christopher says, are there any free 12-team leagues? Let me pull this up for you. If anybody here is wanting to join a league, like a real league, here is how you go about this. If you go to the Discord, there's a league opening section. You can tell that there are a bunch of posts here. I mean, hell, just today, there have been all these. The majority of these are dynasty leagues, but I'm sure if you post something about a redraft league, somebody will help you out. And I will send you a link to join the Discord now, if you're not already in. Okay. That link just got put in the chat. And it's a free Discord if anybody wants in. So Eckler goes the 1204. Herbert off. Let's move this back. Drake May goes. My highest ranked player in the last round was Jared Goff. Highest ranked expert average is Jared Goff. And again, a big reason why we decided to take Tucker Kraft was looking at the teardrop at tight end versus the teardrop at quarterback. So maybe I'm biased, but my opinion is we played that perfectly. Like, it made a ton of sense for us to get the second tight end before the first quarterback, because I still think we're going to get a really strong QB option making it to us in the 13th. So now at wide receiver, we have Lamb, A.J. Brown, Waddle, Ricky Pearsall, Darnell Mooney. Running back, we have Amari Hampton, James Cook, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews, Tucker Kraft. Quarterback, we have Jared Goff, and we'll get one more QB. So we're going to be having to play the matchups in the flex spots because we have a bunch of solid wide receivers and running backs. And we'll be playing the matchups at tight end between Andrews and Tucker Kraft. And we'll be playing the matchups at quarterback between Jared Goff and whoever else we take. So, I'd imagine week 1 submitting this starting lineup's very tough. Week 2, week 3 submitting this starting lineup's really tough. But you would hope that Mark Andrews cements himself early, or Tucker Kraft cements himself early. And by the time we're in week 5, 6, 7, we kind of have an understanding of the players that hit versus the players that maybe turned out to be nothing. Chase says, redraft league crusher here. Just getting into best ball. Any tips or differences on how you draft? The big thing that's going to matter is because your roster's lock after your draft is going to be your roster construction. You need to make sure that you are drafting 2 to 3 quarterbacks, 2 to 3 tight ends, 4 to 6 running backs, and the rest of your slots wide receiver. My highest ranked player is CJ Stroud. The expert average is Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to run with my rankings. I would rather have Stroud over Lawrence. So, and we'll see what the league analyzer says about our team and if it's any decent or if I'm maybe getting ahead of myself. DJ says, how do I load your rankings on Underdog? Are you saying, how do you get those draft sheets from Underdog? They'll go to your email address that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with if you used promo code FLOCK and made a $10 deposit. If you're asking how you upload our rankings onto Underdog to draft on Underdog, you can't do that because we don't have Underdog rankings out. We don't have any best ball rankings out. We only have redraft rankings out. Like all those draft sheets that you get for signing up to Underdog or signing up to flockfantasy.com, none of them are for Underdog drafts. They're only for your Sleeper, Yahoo, ESPN, NFL Fantasy, CBS, drafts like that, your redraft leagues. Okay. Josh says, Mixon at 89 in the flock draft. Is that good? Yeah, I like that value. So now we have 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends, so we don't need to take another QB or another tight ends. Highest ranked player according to expert average is Marvin Mims. I have Mims and Miles Sanders ranked back to back. For a team like this, I'm going to take Miles Sanders. I think Marvin Mims maybe has a higher floor than Miles Sanders does. But what I like about Miles Sanders for a redraft team is we're going to get to see the running back usage for the Dallas Cowboys week 1. And we will know immediately if we need to go ahead and cut him. Like if Jaden Blue's the guy or Javonte Williams is very clearly the guy, cool. I'll cut Miles Sanders, never think about him again. There will be a player I want to pick up off the waiver wire after week 1 for sure. But if Miles Sanders turns out to be the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys, then that's a massive hit. So let's pull up where we're at in the league analyzer. We are in the 3 hole, and this is using the average expert rankings. Let me refresh so we can get the creator rankings in here. And if I use my rankings, I am the 2nd strongest team. The number 1 team has Caleb, Fields at quarterback. Yeah, they just got an incredible value with Fields. I absolutely love what they did at quarterback. They played it perfectly. Running back, they have Taylor, Montgomery, Travis Etienne, Ramondre Ford. Wide receiver, they have Chase, DJ Moore, Sutton, Jennings, Leggett. Tight end, they have Trey McBride. Yeah, that team at 1 was incredible. I like our team a lot as well. We have the 2nd best wide receiver room, according to the league analyzer. We have the worst QB room with Goff and Stroud. We have the 6th best tight end room with Andrews and Kraft, and the 6th best running back room with Hampton, James Cook, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard, Miles Sanders. So I like the squad. And I'm definitely feeling more confident for the Flock League draft. I'll tell you that much. But today was a good day. And here's what I'm going to do. I'll shout it out one more time. Probably not going to do another draft, but if you want to have some fun, if you want to watch something good, go to the Flock League YouTube channel. Make sure you check out the newest video where we watch all the auditions for the league. Super fun. Pretty funny. And my favorite channel on YouTube, but I'm a little bit biased. Now, I do really appreciate y'all hanging out with us, of course. A lot happened today, so I'll try to recap it all. 1, Flock Fantasy tournaments are now live on Underdog. There will be 3 every single week until the season starts. 2, we pushed out the massive update to the drafts on flockfantasy.com. If you just want to do a regular redraft mock draft, I already covered all that. 3, new Flock League video. Ton of fun. And 4, if you had signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, I sent you the draft sheets. Go to your email that you signed up to Underdog with. Go to the spam folder. Go to the promotions folder, wherever it may be. Hopefully it's just in your regular inbox. And if it's like buried and if it's hard for you to find, once you find it, make sure you respond to it saying like, hey, I want the updates. That way, next time I send it to you, it'll be easier for you to find. But let's see. Demonic Sailor says, when you say 3 every week, is it 3 contests or 3 entries? It'll be 3 different contests. So, and you get 3 entries per contest. So you can do 9 flock drafts a week if you want. But let me just tell you real quick, because it's not like I got to go anywhere right this second, what days those flock tournaments are going to be, so you can prepare. The days are Sunday, Tuesday, Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern is when the flock tournaments are going to drop. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you, and really hope we get to see you out in the live stream.